It's about to go down with Marc and Cathey, a live coaching show about dropping ideas. Marc and Cathey coach and have conversations with brilliant idea creators who are reimagining the world through the expression of their words, thoughts, and actions.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to It's About to Go Down. I'm Marc Williams.
And I'm Cathey Armillas. I'm really excited because I have a friend that I met, like a decade ago, more than a decade ago.
More than a decade.
More than a decade ago. We have been friends. Darren Fleming, he is hailing from Adelaide, Australia, where it's early in the morning for him right now. And for Marc, he's about to have dinner. But Darren's written 7 books, and his latest book, Mindset Mastery, is what we're going to be talking about today. So Darren, you have this idea that we all have. Ooh, love it. It's a beautiful. Hold it up for a second. It's beautiful. And it's about to be translated into, I love your head. It's about to be translated into Japanese. And there it is in Japanese. I love it. I love it. Even the cut off head right there.
Even the cut off head, they've matched that.
They matched it. I love that. Did. And so this idea that you have, I love, Darren, let's get into it. There's this idea of that you said that we have everything that we need.
Yeah.
Right? Tell us more about that. And welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. I've been following this podcast for a while and so happy to be invited on. So Mindset Mastery is about, we spend all our time fighting ourselves during the day. So you try to do, the biggest distractions we have are not emails, meetings, or anything outside us. It's the noise in our head. We sit down to do a task. Now, if the brain wants to work on that task that you've got to work on, like happy days. But if the brain doesn't, it'll think about a meeting tomorrow or what happened yesterday or that conversation last night. Or you might sit down and the body doesn't want to work. So you'll sit down to do the task, and then the body, actually, you'll just go to the toilet first. Sit down. I'll just go get a coffee. Or it's too hot. I better change the air conditioning. And we spend all our day fighting either our brain or our body to get work done.
My body wants to do laundry sometimes. What the hell? Like, why? Now I'm questioning why my body wants to do those things, Darren.
Well, why does your body have a dislike of doing an activity? Why would it do that? So what we do is you then spend all day, we've all done it. The washing is sitting there. I've got to do it this weekend. Saturday morning, I could do it. That, Sunday afternoon, it still hasn't been done. And you're being, I should do it. And you're feeling guilty. And that makes life difficult. And I think the main way people try to get around it are broken. People try to use habits and discipline to get around that. You just got to have discipline to do it. Yeah, habit. And habits and discipline are a cage that keep freedom at bay. And I've never liked habits and discipline, so I've railed against them. I've actually worked out if you deactivate what's going on inside you, you don't need habits and discipline. You can be at choice. And what a wonderful way to live.
Be at choice. I love that. That is amazing. Darren, one of the things that I love, and Marc, I don't know if your mind is like going.
Yeah, I think it's just
like I don't know if you tracked with him when he was talking and you're like, well, how many times does your head tell you, like, you avoid the thing that gets stuck in your head, but it's on repeat. It's like a broken, skipped record. It's like, oh, I need to do this thing. I need to do this. And then your body's like, oh, I don't want to do this thing. I don't want to do this thing. I don't want to do this. I'll do it later. I'll do it later. I'll do it later. I love, it's so daunting. I even love thinking about that as like, I mean, a cure for me immediately is even just knowing that I do that. But I don't know. What are you thinking, Marc?
I am now very fascinated by this myth that you are breaking down. We've all heard about habits of highly effective people. We've heard about routines and discipline. And Darren, you just threw all of those up and knocked them out of the park. And I'm just curious, And I know you were starting to explain it, but we've all been told, make it a habit. We've all been told if you really want to start working out every day, get up at 7 o'clock in the morning on the dot, on the second, and just do it. And you're saying that doesn't work.
Well, it does work, but you're living in a cage because you may not want to get up at 7 o'clock on the dot. You might want to get up at 7:15. But I've got to get up at 7. Now, I want to, there's three words you mentioned there, and I just want to single one of them out. Routine. Routine is not a bad thing. So like, I brush my teeth right before I get into bed. That's my routine. My routine is I get up, I shower, I get up, meditate, exercise, shower, eat, then brush my teeth. So that's just the routine is just the order you do things. Habits, as James Clear says in his international best-selling book, Atomic Habits, habits are a set of unconscious behaviors we perform without thinking. Let that sink in. They're a set of unconscious behaviors we perform without thinking. So the whole self-help industry is about let's go unconscious. I couldn't think of any worse way to live.
Wow.
It doesn't put you at choice.
It doesn't put you at choice. Why are you doing that? I don't know. I'm unconscious. I read a book that said have habits. I'll be successful.
I love that.
That just
Now, okay, can I play the devil's advocate for a second? Aren't there some
You
things
always
that
do.
we want to? Yeah, right. I always do. Aren't there some things we want to be unconscious? Right? Like maybe aren't there things we want to be in that space? Like there are some things that probably are awesome that they're in the habit space, right? And there's things that maybe we want to make choices about.
Can you give me an example?
Yeah. I could definitely give you an example. I've been doing this weird thing. I don't know why I decided it, but 4 years ago on my birthday, I decided that for the rest of my life, I want to do the number of squats that my age is, that represents my age. And when I hit my birthday this year, it'll be 4 years. I haven't missed a single day. And I believe I haven't missed a single day because I do it at night when I'm brushing my teeth. And I do have a hardcore routine.
Every day of the year you're doing I'd be 35 and then next birthday will be 36.
Yes, I love you. I love you for saying it would be 35. And yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But hold on, Cathey. Hold on. I think, Darren, what you're saying though in that example, that doesn't feel like a cage though.
That's a routine.
Right, because you're not, it's not something unpleasant.
Oh yes, it is. Yeah, it's absolutely unpleasant.
But you wait until she gets to 40, man. You haven't done 40 squats.
I am brushing my teeth and I'm dying. And the older I get, I'm like, when I'm 90, it's going to take me 35 minutes to do it.
You're going to need 2 days to do your squats.
Exactly. And I'm going to die on the second day.
But it is not unconscious behavior. She is conscious of it.
Okay.
I'm brushing my teeth, therefore I'm going up and down.
I'm gonna do my squats. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I can deal with that.
So that's not a habit. A habit would be, oh shit, you're brushing your teeth. I'm doing my squats.
Yeah.
You didn't realize you were doing it.
Oh, all of a sudden I got 40 squats done.
Darren, could you then help us out? What's an example, if you've gotten into this cage, what's an example of a habit that you were doing?
Oh, habits that I was doing. Discipline would be one of the ones that was around that I'd more actually the habit of the way that I was thinking, that I'm not good enough, that I can't be successful, that this isn't going to work. So my habit, my internal dialogue, the default mode network was just in that habitual pattern of I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough. And I don't know, you might have come across 1 or 2 people in your life that have the similar sort of thing. So how are we generally told to change that thought pattern? Well, you just got to fight those thoughts. So you've got to push it down, suppress. Yeah, good luck doing that. Have you ever done affirmations? You know, you stand in the morning in front of the mirror. I am a great salesman. I am a great salesman. I am a great salesman. And the voice even chimes in. I am a great salesman. No, you're not. I am a great salesman. No, you're not. And you believe that until you stop doing your affirmations. And you've got to stop doing your affirmations when you walk out of your room. So you're fighting it. The other way we're told to break that habit of that way of thinking is to find some evidence to the contrary. So last week I was speaking at a conference for real estate agents. And, you know, if you're a pure commission real estate agent, life can be pretty tough. If you haven't got a listing appointment or even a listing for a couple of weeks, you know, you're going to be hungry in a couple of months. So if you're going out with the, oh, I'm no good at this, I'm no good at this, the idea is, well, go to your glory folder and pull out the evidence of when you were good. But what this is happening is your automated thinking has taken off. It's done 2 laps of the ballpark before you think, oh, I've got to send out this other thought. So you're fighting yourself with the way of thinking. And that's exhausting.
Like an arm wrestling thing, right?
Yeah, and you're going to lose.
Either way.
Yeah, it's tough. It's hard work. And that's why people go home from work, they love drained. Because they spend all day fighting their own thinking.
You know, I think Marc will understand this because Marc has been an educator in the past, or still, I mean, educator forever, right? Yes. Teacher, educator, principal. He's worked with kids a lot. Kids suffer greatly from voices in their head. You know, they get to a certain age and they're like, oh, I'm terrible at this. Why? Because one other person can do it better than me in the whole world. You know, you'll talk to kids and they'll be like, I'm not good at basketball. Why? Because LeBron James is alive? Like what? You know? Right, Marc? I'm wondering, and it really made me start thinking about kids, because I think it really, I mean, I think it affects everybody, but I really started thinking about how badly kids really suffer with that arm wrestling thing.
And then
Go ahead,
we as a parent, we make the kid wrong. So the kid sits there, he goes, I'm no good at basketball. And we turn around as a loving parent giving some well-intended bad advice. You're great at basketball. So the subtext to that message is, you're wrong. Awesome. Thanks.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't say that, by the way. I tell them, no, you want to be great at basketball? You got to practice every day, by the way. What do you think Kobe Bryant did? But I get it. We would tell, mostly we would tell our kids, oh, you're great. You're awesome.
Well, because I think as parents, and I also speak in that other hat as a teacher and an educator, I think we get caught up in this dialogue of, no, you got it all wrong, young grasshopper. You are good enough, and you can be great at basketball, and you can make friends, and we say all of these things because we want them to feel good about themselves. And then we might say something, to your point, Darren, of you know what? Just go out on the court and start bouncing that ball every day, and you'll get better at it. Meanwhile, they don't believe it, and they don't want to do it. So what I'm curious about, Darren, is, and Cathey, I'm glad you brought this up from the teacher and a parent perspective. What's your advice, Darren, for the parent or the teacher, the counselor, the adult who is trying to get a young mind to develop a habit? Because that's what we're used to doing.
So I don't.
But then what do we do instead?
I don't advocate replacing one habit with another. That's just stupid, because, you know, why are you saying that habit A is worse than habit B? That's So what does parent do for young grasshopper? The first thing is you need to know is you cannot control anything outside of yourself. I mean, you just need to have teenage kids to know that. So don't try and change anything for them, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So for you or me, the parent, it is understanding that you are having an energetic sensation inside your body that is causing you to blurt out, you are good. And the reason we're saying that is we want to take their pain away. We all know, though, as parents, you've got to let people go through their own lessons to learn it. If you take all the pain away, we end up with people who don't have the ability to cope with what life sends to them. So how does the parent help the individual, the child? It's about helping the child understand that there is a message coming from their body, and you need to experience that message. You don't need to know what the message is. You just need to experience it. The Stoics said the obstacle is the way. Marcus Aurelius. Now, Ryan Halliday's got some great books around that, but a lot of it is, well, it's tough, so you just got to fight through it. No, because that means a fight. Look at nature. Nature doesn't fight. Birds and trees don't sit there and fight themselves to go somewhere. The obstacle is the way means you need to go through that energetic sensation, which means you just need to relax and experience it.
What does that look like?
So little Johnny's sitting there going, I'm no good at basketball. Okay, what energetic sensations are being experienced within the brain-body instrument? So in the body, we would call it things like fear, not good enough, all those sort of things. The moment you put a label on a sensation, you turn it into a cognition. So in other words, the moment you put a label on a feeling, you make it a thought. When you're thinking about it, you're doing something with it. Because if we look at it from evolutionary terms, the energetic sensations, you could call them feelings, the energetic sensations in your body, from an evolutionary point of view, are the earliest forms of communication. So this is where the message is coming from. When we put a label on it, I'm feeling fear, I'm feeling excited, what is happening is you're putting a label on that energetic sensation and you can't experience it because you experience the word. So you sit there and sit in, but don't wallow in, sit in and observe the energetic sensations going on inside your body. It's said that the Buddha's moment of enlightenment was when he realized that nothing in the world is permanent. Everything changes. There was a time, we go back 50, 60 years, we weren't here. Another 100 years, we won't be here. The buildings we are currently in around the world won't be here. And if we keep going the way that we are, our species may not even be here. Everything is impermanent. Everything changes. That energetic sensation you're experiencing in your body is subject to that law as well. It will change. But if you try and use a habit to force that energetic sensation down so you can push over it, you have to fight yourself all the way through to do your practice. Whereas if you just let the energetic sensation deactivate itself, you won't have to fight it. Then you can be at choice. I will go play basketball or I won't play basketball.
I won't label that I'm bad or I won't label that I'm whatever, right? I won't put label on it. I'll just experience.
It just is.
Yeah, it just is. Yeah.
Nothing is good or bad, but thinking makes it so, to quote our friend Shakespeare.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. Ooh, I love this. What I love about it the most, Darren, is it's so simple it seems silly, right? Like it's so simple.
Absolutely.
But we overcomplicate everything. Like that's our job as humans. We're like, oh, we got to make sense of things. We want to make things permanent. I like when you said that because we try to make sense of things. We live a lot like things are permanent when we fully know well that they're not. Like
Yeah.
nothing is. And nothing good or bad is permanent. Nothing, no structure is permanent. Everything is in the process of, decaying or
It's the second law of thermodynamics. Everything is moving towards decay. Even our sun's only got 5 billion years left in it.
Yeah, that's so little, right? It's like
I know. But we look at what's going on in the world around geopolitics. Since the end of World War II, the US has been the dominant one. 10 years' time, US is just going to be a thing of the past. It will. I know that hurts for the US. How do you think we feel in Australia? We're right near China, relying on you for submarines. We're screwed. But everything changes.
Everything does change.
Everything changes.
I love that. I'm curious, like, I know, one of the things that, that you're trying to convey here is to really, I love this, is like to be in a space where if you want to have mastery, be at choice. Don't try to suppress whatever. What's a really big, if you were talking to a kid, somebody who didn't have any understanding of this, what would be the easiest way for you to convey that they could do this,
Yeah, my wife, Ali, she runs a family daycare from home. So she has, 4 or 5 students there during the day, and she teaches them. She teaches them how to learn through nature. So she has kids generally from about 18 months, 2 years through to 5 years old. 4 of them. They get on the bus, go into town, catch 2 buses into town, go to the zoo. And these kids need a sleep in the afternoon, so they have a sleep on the grass at the zoo, then they jump on a bus and they go home, and they're all safe. I wouldn't have done that with my kids, geez. And what she talks to those kids about is, what's your body telling you? And it's about looking at the energetic sensation inside your body. Okay, how do you need to act around that energetic sensation so you feel what it is that you need to feel? Carl Jung, who was a student of and eventually contemporary to Sigmund Freud, late 1800s in Vienna, he said that until we make the unconscious conscious, it'll continue to turn up in our life and we will call it fate. The way the unconscious turns up is not as words, it's not as cognitions, because that's the neocortex. That is, in evolutionary terms, it's only been around 20 minutes. It's an energetic sensation. So when that energetic sensation comes up, it is the unconscious becoming conscious. If you push it back down, we have to recreate situations where it can come up. But if you listen to the message your body is telling you, the message will come up, the law of impermanence will kick in, it will deactivate itself and it will be gone. You don't have to worry about it anymore. It just
dissipates, right?
Dissipates.
All right. I'm gonna go back to these kids in school.
Yeah.
Because I'm so fascinated by this. There's a kid, let's call him young Darren.
Young Darren.
Young Darren.
Young Darren does not want to go to school. I don't want to go to school. I don't want to get up in the morning. I just want to lay around all day and watch videos. And mom is like, no, you got to get up out of bed and go to school every day. You got to get up at 7. You got to brush your teeth at 7:05. You got to get out of the house by 7:30. And you're going to sit up and pay attention in school, keep your head up, sit up straight, and you're going to come home and do your homework. Darren says, no, I don't want to do that.
I only said it once. Back in the 90s. Back in the early 80s in Western Sydney, man, you said that you got a clip around the ear and you learnt your lesson real quick. But I certainly don't advocate domestic violence. So I hear what you're saying. It's about, once again, being a choice. So you have got two choices there, young Darren. You can either get out of bed and prepare yourself for school, or you will have this consequence, whatever that consequence happens to be. So you're a choice. Which one do you want? Well, you choose the consequence. Okay. Oh, stop doing that to me. Well, you said this is what you wanted. You had choice A or choice B. You chose B. That's the consequence. You get up and go to school, or you lose your phone for a week. Which one do you want?
You're at choice right now.
You're a choice.
That's interesting, because it's not just you either do this or you do nothing, right? But it's, all right, if you're going to choose this, understand that it comes with that, and then start making some decisions. And I can see how difficult that could be for a parent or a teacher. So there's a part of this that's also making me think, like, as the other person, I have to let that other person do that thinking. Because sometimes I think we want to do the thinking for others.
You need to know that you can't control anyone. So what's going on inside you that causes you to get really angry and shout at your kid and belt them if they're not going to get out? There's some energetic sensation inside your body that happens every morning. Why? Because until we make the unconscious conscious, it'll continue to turn up in life, and we will call it fate. So this shit happens every morning on every kid until you learn to deprogram it.
Hold on, I gotta tell you this. I gotta tell you this. Here's what this reminds me of, and I think in such action of what you're sharing. So I know of an adult who told a child, listen, you are now old enough to do your own laundry. You are going to do your laundry from now on. I'm not going to do your laundry for you anymore. The child proceeded not to do his laundry. One day, the child comes to the parent and says, so I don't have any clean underwear. And the parent said, well, you got two choices. Either you go to school with dirty underwear, or you go to school with no underwear. But I told you, you have to do your laundry. So that child had a choice and had to live with it. And that's the story that I just thought of when you shared it, because that adult gave options, left it up to the child to make the choice, and then had to make a choice based on the
non-choice.
So what happens in there? So that is the perfect way that it should happen, but it doesn't, does it? Because as a parent, we go, oh, I don't really want young Johnny to go to school without undies or with dirty underwear. What if he's got the face there was blocked. So what we do is we take on feelings for the other person. I don't want young Johnny to go to school with dirty underwear. I'll do his laundry, which is all about an energetic sensation inside you that you are trying to suppress and not deactivate. So what will happen is in a couple of months' time, you're going to come up, okay, you're now old enough, you're 3 months older, you've got to do your own washing. And you will create the same process, the same pattern, and the energetic will come up, and the kid will come out and say, I don't have any clean socks, no clean underwear, no clean shirts. And you go, I'm going to be so embarrassed if he goes to school with a dirty shirt, I'll do the washing. Guess what? Young Johnny doesn't learn the lesson, doesn't get into the routine. So until we make the unconscious conscious, it'll continue to turn up in life, and we will call it fate. You have to let the unconscious become conscious. You do that by the obstacle is the way. Just experience it. Don't label it. Don't make it right. Don't make it wrong. In the book, Mindset Mastery, available now on all good Amazon sites, it talks through the 6 don'ts. Don't make it right. Don't make it wrong. Don't label it. Don't justify it. Don't explain it. Don't fight it. Just experience it.
I love those don'ts, Darren. That's pretty helpful.
Yeah.
In this case with the parent and the child, I bet if the parent didn't relent, I bet the child is now doing his underwear, right? Washing his own.
Or deciding who doesn't mind walking around with dirty underwear on.
Yeah, and the parent shouldn't mind, right? Like
it's the choice. But the parent goes, "You reflect badly on me." Well, you don't actually.
Yeah.
That's just a story you are telling yourself. Can't that
Right.
person be its own individual?
That's an interesting thought, even right there, is the stories that you allow yourself to believe, like, oh, you'll make me look bad. Says who? Like, you ask 100 people, maybe 90 people are like, well, your kid didn't do the laundry. Like, you know, they might not even be thinking that, but yet you've already labeled that people are going to think something about you. Yeah. Yeah.
There's a great a movie. Everyone, I've never met someone who doesn't like the movie Dead Poet Society. And in there, the guy who ended up, the student who killed himself, who went into the play because that was his passion. And then his father went off and was talking to someone at the local shop and saying, "Yeah, our kids are in plays together." And he said, "No, we're not." And the father caught up with the son and said, "You're in a play. You made me look like a liar." And well, no, I didn't. You chose, you may be misinformed, but that doesn't mean you're a liar.
Yeah.
The voice in our head makes stories up all the time.
Yeah.
The voice in our head makes up stories about what is going on out there to make what is feeling in here acceptable.
Yeah, or makes sense, right?
Makes sense, yeah. So the reason I am feeling this way inside that I don't like is because Marc said something. Therefore, it's Marc's fault that I feel this way. I don't have to take responsibility for it. Whew, isn't that good?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's definitely always Marc's fault. That makes sense.
Let it be said that, Marc, if you say something and I'm offended, that's my problem, not yours.
Yeah.
I'm glad that we are exploring this, because this concept of mind mastery, I can imagine, can be a challenge for a lot of individuals, right? And yet, the greatest challenge maybe for those, I'll say those of us, because I think we've all been in these situations, those of us who are trying to get others into habits. And I don't know how much you talk about that, Darren, but I'd be curious to explore that. Like, yes, there's an audience out there of people who are getting into habits, but there's an audience of people out there who are trying to get other people into habits. And from what you're saying, those people sound like they need to hear your message.
Yeah. What's the best way to travel?
Depends where you're going.
Hey, exactly. So habits, I do rail against habits. I don't think they're good. But for someone who is living in depression, who has trouble getting out of bed, scaffolding through the form of a habit and discipline that gets them out of bed and gets them showered and eating, that actually might be really good. So yeah, and there are people who want others into habits because of productivity-wise or purpose or control, which is just productivity. But where I'm talking about is where you want to live at choice and you actually want to be that person that you wish to be.
I'm going to take it a little further too, because now we've talked about doing this in our own lives and how we interact with other people, and then even from a child's perspective. I started thinking about, I think a lot about sports psychology, Darren, because I've been playing since I was really young. I've been playing really high level sports. And yeah, I played softball. And now I played soccer for a long time, or football, and then now I play pickleball. And one thing that I've come to realize is that I can play my best at whatever sport I'm doing when I can be in a space where I'm at choice and not where I'm gripped by the score or by other things that are happening. It's funny because recently I've been telling partners that I've been playing with, I've described it like this, but I feel like I've been describing your method. I'm like, just be cool. Don't worry, like be cool. You know, the scene in like, what was it? What scene is it? Everybody be cool. This is a robbery. Remember this? This is from,
Don't
I'm
know what
trying to
it's
think
from,
of what
but it
movie it is.
sounds good.
Yeah, it's just like they walk in like, everybody be cool. This is a robbery. But it's just like kind of that, like, just be cool about it. Like chill. Don't have a reaction to what's going on. It was Pulp Fiction, by the way. I was
Right.
like, I was thinking about the I was like, of course I know where it came from, but I was thinking about the sports stuff. Anyway, I feel like it's a really good thing to do in sports as well.
Just
It's like,
be.
don't allow because if you allow the thoughts, like if I get behind, for instance, and I'm playing, it could be basketball, it could be tennis, it could be anything. You get behind, and then all your thoughts that consume you are like, oh my gosh, I'm behind. I need to get this many points. You're not going to play your best at all. Your energy, you have ruined your energy, and your energy is now, I'm on the defense, I'm not on the offense.
Yeah.
I'm having to adjust to what other people do. I can't do my thing anymore.
Yeah. And what ends up happening then is you play a game sometime in the future, not the game right now. Because if I don't play this ball right, something in the future is going to be wrong, and I'm going to have to do something different then. Well,
Yes.
no, you're just play the ball now.
Right now, with what you
Right
know,
now.
with what you have. Yeah.
Be here now, not there then, to quote Ram Dass.
I love that. Yeah.
And that
Mark,
was a lot of this is driven by my elite sport. I represented Australia in sailing for about 10 years. And I was always fighting myself. Oh, come on, you got to be better. You got to be. And you tighten up. You tighten up. And
you definitely energy. When you were saying that energy thing, I was like, oh, you definitely get in a weird energy space.
yeah.
And
if you're in a weird energy space, how can you see the ball coming to you correctly?
yeah,
Because if you're completely tightening up in your sport of pickleball or softball or whatever it is, what will happen which is more visually related? So you've got to be able to timing, etc. Your eyes, the muscles around your eyes will constrict. Now, when the muscles around your eyes constrict, you're not going to get a good flow of optic signal. Therefore, you're actually not going to be able to see the ball any better. Squinting is not going to help you see. Tensing is not going to help you see. But that's what we're told to do.
Yeah. Well, it's really funny. My dad might have taught me this lesson when I was really young. I used to be a pitcher, right? Fast pitch softball pitcher. And sometime when we were really young, and I was starting to get really good, they would always switch out pitchers. It was just like common, like you wouldn't let you let other pitchers play so that everybody kind of had equal time. And there were numerous times when I would be put into a position where the bases were loaded and there were no outs, and there's a batter, and then the coach is calling time. Guess what? We're going to put a new pitcher in because this pitcher has definitely gotten frozen up, freaked out, whatever. They put me in, and my dad told me from a young age, he's like you don't pay attention to those things. Those things don't matter. It doesn't matter if the bases are loaded. It doesn't matter how many balls are already and it's kind of what you said, Darren. It's like, what matters is how you execute this pitch that you're about to throw right now.
Yeah.
And so whatever you need to do to throw your best pitch, do that. So I love just connecting it to this. Be at choice, not under the will of this like freaked out, paranoid, stressed out space.
So to take that a step further, to show how the mindset mastery works. So I run this course in corporate Australia and around the world. And one of my clients, he was the acting CIO of one of Australia's largest companies. He said, Darren, I can see those in my team who are applying the mindset mastery methodology. They're going like this. And those that aren't, they're effectively, comparatively going down. He said, Darren, but I think it might be confirmation bias. You know, we're good mates. He wanted to, so he said, Darren, come out to my clay target shooting club and we'll run a study. And we will do a measure pre-intervention. We'll teach him a little bit of the mindset mastery methodology. And then 2 weeks later, we'll come back and do another measure. Over 2 weeks, they had a 13% increase in accuracy by applying mindset mastery. Not one extra bullet was shot to improve accuracy. They just worked with what was going in here and how to deactivate the stories they were telling themselves so they could be more accurate.
Just be cool.
Is there a secret to your process or that allows you to be in that space? Because I'm imagining I'll use basketball. I wanted to go track, but I'll use basketball. And I'm at the foul line. I missed the first shot. I've missed my last couple of shots. My teammate is upset because he thought I could have been guarding this other player. And I got all of these stories and I got all of this dialogue. What can I do in that moment?
Sure.
To silence the dialogue?
Have you, is this the first time you've experienced this as a basketball player?
No.
So it would have happened like a number of times?
Yes.
Right. So until we make the unconscious conscious, it keeps turning up in life and we call it fate. So how would you do that? Maybe like the parent screaming at the kid every morning, get out of bed. Just pay attention to the energetic sensation you're experiencing in your body. It won't last. The law of impermanence will kick in and it will go. And as it goes, you can then step up. And all these people will be screaming and going apeshit, but that's them. That's not you, that's them. And you can't control them, so don't worry about it. You'll feel this energetic sensation in your body, experience it. Don't make it right, don't make it wrong. Don't label it, don't justify it, don't explain it, don't suppress it. Just relax and experience it. And it will, you could potentially be having a physiological reaction that could involve shaking. And if you're shaking, there's a good chance you're not going to be accurate. But nothing lasts forever. So just experience it. It will deactivate itself. The shaking will stop. And then you can take your shot to the best of your current ability.
So we've been making movie references today. I'm going to make a very, well, I would say it's obscure, but I don't know if you ever saw Michael J. Fox in Teen Wolf.
He rode, I do know he rode on top of the bus. The only thing I remember from it.
What I remember is the very end of the movie when he decides that he's not going to wolf out.
Right.
And he is going to take the shot. And what I remember about that scene, it was like everything was blurred out. And all you could hear was the basketball. And it was almost like an embodiment of what I'm hearing you say. It was like, I'm just listening to my body. I'm just present in this moment and nothing else matters.
Everything's
wow.
Everything's kind of muffled. The background's muffled. And then, yeah, I love that.
You just focus right here, right now. Not there then.
Well, I just got better at pickleball right in this moment. Here we go.
You're better at everything.
At everything. I love it.
Everything.
I love this. You know, Mark, when Darren just said something that made me think about what we've been doing. So Darren, Mark and I started an academy called the Speaker Skills Academy because we realized that people don't practice speaking a lot. They just do it.
Yeah.
Right. They might prepare possibly, but practicing, not that much. People do it a lot. And in that moment when you're speaking, that very moment that you're actually speaking, you're only able to rely on the skills that you have in that very moment. That's the best that you can do. So we created we created this space where we could help people drill, right? We give them the option to practice it now while it doesn't matter, and I believe that it kind of is in line with what you're saying. We're helping people drop into that space where they can let that unconscious, go, they can let it flow or whatever. And they can do something and not have any thought on it. Just, let it be however it is. But then when they do step up to take the metaphorical shot, so to speak, they're going to be in a different state, in a different place. And if they're still not doing great, they'll be telling better stories. Even if they're still telling stories, at least they'll be a little bit better.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I just saw that connection because you had said something, you actually said it to Mark when you said, whatever the best of your ability is right in that moment. And I thought, Mark, about how we didn't realize that we were actually attaching some kind of mindset mastery to it as well.
Yeah. As you know, I've spent the last 20 years doing corporate presentation skills training around the world. I had a client call me about October last year. So he lived in Sydney, Australia. I'm in Adelaide, and he had to go to the US somewhere and give a presentation. He'd been a lawyer for about 25 years, super knowledgeable about what he does. And, he was the person to give the presentation. He turned toward it and said, I just can't do this. I just can't do this. And to the point of, I don't even want to get on the plane and go over there and present and make a bucket load of money pitching this idea. I'm just not going to do it. And you come across people like that as well. So we did a one-on-one coaching session. It was on Zoom, and he was freaking out, just talking about it, just thinking about the idea. He was having physiological reactions in his body. His heart rate was increasing, pupils dilating, all that sort of jazz. You could see it online. So I took him through the mindset mastery. We deactivated. It took about 2 minutes. And I said, okay, Tom, I want you to just practice this over the next, just a couple of days to keep make sure it's completely deactivated. And he sent me a message about 10:30 that night saying, Darren, I can't access that energetic sensation anymore. I must be doing it wrong. What's going on? And I said, well, you've actually achieved it. You have made the unconscious conscious. You haven't suppressed it. You've actually just let it come up and deactivate itself. And because of that, you don't have to address that issue now. He went over to the US, smashed it. Absolutely smashed it. Because he wasn't fighting himself to do the work. The analogy I like to describe this with is, in Australia, what you in America would call a flashlight, we call a torch. When I was a kid, 1970s, early 80s in Australia, we didn't have Facebook or anything like that, and nothing to play with. And for a period of time, I was obsessed with torches. Like in the middle of the Australian summer, I'd walk around with a torch in the middle of the day so I could see things. And, a torch in bed at night, you put a sheet over it, you can't see as much. You put a blanket, see less. Another one, If you want to see the light of the torch, you don't scream at the light and say, be brighter, be brighter. No, that'd be stupid. What you do is you take the blankets off. That's all that I did for the client, Tom. He had all the confidence, and everyone has all the confidence they will ever need to do anything. All we need to do is take the blankets off that confidence so it can shine through.
Yeah.
And when you try to put a habit on there, you try to put discipline on there to get that confidence, you're just putting another blanket on top. You get further from it.
One more blanket to remove. Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you for that metaphor. And I don't know how often you've used that metaphor. And by the way, thank you for clarifying the difference between a flashlight and a torch. Because had you not said that, I'd have been like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I would have been like, how many blankets are you catching on fire with a torch?
But what I love is this concept of either for yourself or to help others. Like, what's that blanket?
And it doesn't matter.
You need to take off?
So, and the benefit of this is, So we've both been doing presentation skills training for like far too long. And people will say to me, oh, I used to be really good at presenting, but then at my last job, my boss was really mean to me when I was presenting, and now I've had no confidence ever since. And that's all true. But it might also be, I don't know what, it's just something happened. And, until I find out what happened, I can't move forward. Well, you're putting a cognition on a sensation, and therefore you can't make the unconscious conscious. The beauty of this process is you don't need to know why the energetic sensation is coming up. It just is.
Yeah. You don't need to know why the blanket is there, but the blanket.
You don't need to know why it's there. It just is.
Yeah, I get that. I totally get that. I love that metaphor. I love that metaphor a lot because you could take whatever you're feeling in any moment and be like, ugh, how many blankets do I have on top of this? And why, and how can I just allow, kind of allow these blankets to be removed by not, by not believing in them almost. Kind of reminds me of when you tell kids, it's like when they're young and they're like, oh, they get scared about ghosts in the dark and things that they believe might be there. It's just like, well, one day you can just decide that you don't believe in that anymore.
But what that does is it makes them wrong. There's nothing under the bed. There is no ghosts. But that kid knows 100% that there is a ghost. Yeah. And a person who is taller and has the designation of adult comes in and says, you're wrong. Huh. What do you reckon that does for the kid?
Yeah. No, I get that. I get that thing about not making somebody wrong, but within yourself, you know when you're wrong about yourself. You don't have to have somebody tell you. If you're not feeling confident because a boss told you some silly ass thing, it's like, that's kind of on you. You gotta, you gotta remove that blanket, right?
Then someone says, oh, just trust yourself. You've got this. So you look at that,
go tell your story.
Well-intended, bad advice.
Yeah.
Okay, I am feeling an energetic sensation that I would call nervousness that is coming from the center of my being. I couldn't get closer to anything if I tried. And I express that to you, looking for some assistance. And then you say, you've got this. You'll be right. Trust yourself. That is contradictory, because if I trust myself, I focus on this energetic sensation, but I'm not going to be any good. And you're saying I will be good. Awesome. So now I'm confused as well. Great.
Yeah.
What happens if you're comfortable with the blankets covering your light?
Knock yourself out. Go for it. Your
choice. I figured you were going to say that. You're on choice. That's what I thought you were going to say.
I could. The thought of jumping out of an aircraft, go parachuting, is just not something I want to do. My friend Pollyanna, she's done over 1,000 jumps. She thinks it's terrifying. She thinks it's exhilarating. I think it's terrifying. Now, I could use mindset mastery to deactivate my fear around jumping out of an aircraft, but I have zero desire to.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. I love, one of the things that has really bubbled up for me in this conversation is the be at choice.
Yeah.
For kids, for whoever, no matter what scenario you are, is like finding that way. It's like for me, Mark, it's a question that I would use for myself. Am I at choice right now? Am I operating at choice?
Yeah. I don't want to, when Ellie and I got married 18 months ago, our vows were all about choice. We acknowledge it's the choices that we have made that has brought us here to be here today. And my happiness as an individual is reliant on the choices only I make. And I choose to be in this relationship, and that's what it's all about. So it's not till death do us part, honor whoever. No, we're all about choice. Live at choice.
Yep.
I wrote down play at choice, live at choice, be at choice, and respect the choice.
Yeah. Oof. I love that, Mark. I love that.
I think we struggle with that sometimes, respecting the choice for ourselves, respecting the choice for others, right? And
Yeah.
allowing them to go through that process.
Yeah. I don't
It's
like
not
what
easy.
you have decided to do, but I need to respect that that is your choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not easy, but
No,
I understand your thinking.
but maybe that is something deep in the unconscious that needs to come up to be made conscious so it doesn't continue to turn up in your life.
And we call it fate.
And you call it fate.
I'm starting to catch on a little bit, Darren.
What I like is this theory ties together so much. So start of COVID, so we're all locked down. I thought, wouldn't it be good to come up with a theory that sort of encompasses everything? Like Buddhism, Christianity, quantum physics, the Stoics, modern psychology, ancient psychology, Hermes Trismegistus from 10,000 years ago. And this sort of does. Like, there is not one thing that you can point to say that mindset mastery doesn't touch on. Now, I don't say that to say that I'm, the all-wise one. It's just I've gone through and I've read so many books and poured it all in. And, okay, this theory doesn't explain that well-accepted theory. No. Christianity runs all the way through mindset mastery. I think I mentioned him once. But 2,500 years ago, the Buddha walked the planet, the earth, and said, the only truth you will ever know is that which you experience in your body. 500 years later, Christ came along and said, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Oh, I wonder what that means. Socrates said, the unexamined life is not worth living. Lao Tzu, founder of Taoism in China, said, wise is a man who knows someone, enlightened is a man who knows himself. Every wise, sage, mystic, and being who's ever walked the planet has said the same thing. Know thyself. The kingdom of heaven is within. But what do we do? Oh, I'm a Sagittarius. My favourite colour is red and I like long walks on the beach. No, that's not knowing yourself. That's a cognition on a sensation.
The label.
The label.
Yeah.
Pay attention to what's going on in your body.
That resonates so much because there's a speaker I know who runs these workshops, and one thing she always asks people is, that makes so much sense to me. What I would love for you to just speak about for a moment, because it's something that came up at the beginning, and I'd love for people to just hear this from you. You said everyone is perfect for what you are doing.
Yeah.
And I think that ties in. So if you could just speak a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so this came up before we hit record, that the idea of why has that person been able to make hundreds and billions of dollars? Like Zuckerberg started making that sort of money when he was in his mid-20s, but people in their 50s are still scraping to get things together. How can someone like Trump rise to the presidency? How does everyone do everything? Now, you could say that there is a being sitting above the clouds that says, I reckon you will have this and you will have that. I don't buy into that, because if the being above the cloud is all loving and all encompassing, why would they say that you're going to be rich and you're going to be poor? You're going to have good health, you're going to be bad health. I don't buy into that. So we must be at some level of control. And this is a very dharmic view of potentially several lifetimes, should you wish. But it also works for the atheist who says you're born here, you die here, and there's nothing either side of that. That is, we are here to learn or experience certain things, and you have made decisions to get to where you are right now, so you can make the unconscious conscious. So you have all the experience and skills to get through the current situation. What we often do is we often say the outcome to this situation should be as I wish it to be, as opposed to the way it will be. We tell ourselves a story. The situational outcome will be X. The universe is going, why would you want X? I've got Z for you, and that is so much better. We jump up and down when we end up towards Z. Like when I got married the first time, there's no way I wanted to be divorced. But if I didn't, I wouldn't have gone through the experience that caused me to live what has turned out to be mindset mastery. And now I'm in a wonderful relationship with the most amazing person. But at the time, I didn't want to go through the divorce because I was telling myself a story.
Hush the story in your mind. Be at choice, play by choice. Understand everyone is perfect for what you are doing. You've said so many things, and I got to tell you, as an English teacher, I love the references. As a psychology fan, I love all of the references to the quotes. I mean, you really been dropping some stuff here. I'm curious, Cathey, and maybe I'll start with you first. From the conversation that we've had so far, what is something that you're going to walk away with?
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely the be at choice. That hit me immediately. I think that as soon as I heard Darren say that, I knew in my bones exactly what that meant without further explanation. I knew what he was talking about. And that really, it's something that I think will stick with me. Is I'll be in a space and think, am I at choice right now? Or am I being controlled by the unconscious that needs to be conscious that I'm going to call fate, right? Like I'll be thinking about that. And it might be a question that I can check myself with in any situation and be like, am I at choice right now? Am I acting under choice or am I acting under? So I love that. To me, it was simple, but powerful.
Like that. And I got to tell you, there were so many things for me. The one that's jumping out at me right now as I look at my notes is, don't make them wrong.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of labels that we put on. We project our thinking and our feelings and our lived experiences on others, trying to force them into habits. And by doing that, we're making them wrong and not acknowledging that they have what they need. So that was really powerful for me. Darren, I'm curious, what stood out for you? Is there a new thought in your head, or like what's resonated, what's sticking with you?
I've never ever been to New York. I don't have many African American friends. Americans to the outside world lately scare the hell out of us. And like really scare the hell out of us. But to see the applicability of this one concept against different cultures and different lifestyles, and how like Adelaide, South Australia, city on the edge of a desert, compared to New York where you get snow. It is equally applicable. There's nothing in here that either of us have gone, yeah, that's right for you, but it's not right here. And if it's applicable across that level, I think there's got to be some truth in it. It's non-sectarian.
That makes a lot of sense. Wow, you have provoked some deep thought.
So on the screen there, there's mindsetmastery.online. If you go to that website, you can sign up for my, I think it's a 5-day Mindset Mastery Challenge, which takes you through how do you identify and deactivate these energetic sensations.
So either one, I know you've been watching this, or two,
you know the question that's so coming up.
Present, right? Because as you see the question we asked, you already beat us to the punch.
Yes, you did. I thought that same thing too. I was like, wow. He was very zen. He came in and was like, by the way, I love the challenge too, Darren. I think that's cool, Mark. We should take the challenge. I think that's awesome.
Based on, I came across a 30-day marketing challenge. I don't know, maybe 10, 12.
Yeah. Oh, and a lifetime challenge of squats, right? And everything in between.
I'll leave you to that one.
Yeah, exactly. I know. I didn't have any
That's
takers
awesome.
on that. Yeah.
And if you want to get the Mindset Mastery, that is available on Amazon and all the other usual places online.
Very cool.
Amazing.
Darren, thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
It's been really
This
cool.
was awesome. Awesome. We love having these idea conversations. We love, just thinking about new things and new ways of thinking. And we hope that everybody may sign up for the challenge, pick up the book, think about their own mindset mastery, think about living, playing, being at choice. This was really helpful. So thank you for spending
choose
the
to
time
come
with
to New
us.
York and back to Portland to speak if the opportunity arises.
Yeah.
There's a stage in New York waiting for you, Darren. There's a stage in New York waiting for you.
Definitely come back to Portland.
Yeah.
Yes. And listen, for anybody who's watching, absolutely check out Darren, check out Mindset Mastery, and check him out when he comes to a town near you to shift the way that you think by choice. And of course, if anybody out there wants to enjoy a conversation with Cathey and I, check out It's About to Go Down show. We'd love to have you or anybody else that you know who's got an idea that you want to talk about. But until then, blur everything out of your mind. Be as present as you are. Understand that there is nothing wrong with you. You are perfect for what you are doing. Your mindset is your mastery. So says the Zen master, Darren Fleming. And on that note, we absolutely enjoy having you with us for another episode of It's About to Go Down.
Is that the way it goes? In Australia, that's not good. That might work. Yeah, don't do that.
Now we know. It's just about to go down. It's just about to go down.